Welcome to S3 Programming Tech Channel. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போற டாபிக் என்ன அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா DBMS Database Management System. வீடியோக்குள்ள போறதுக்கு முன்னாடி என்னோட சேனலை சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணிக்கோங்க, மற்றவங்களுக்கு ஷேர் பண்ணி விடுங்க. சோ இது வந்து எங்களுக்கு ஒரு மோட்டிவேஷனலா இருக்கும். நீங்க வந்து சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணி எங்களுக்கு வந்து லைக் கொடுக்கறதுனால. சோ புதுசா இன்னும் நிறைய சாஃப்ட்வேர்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணி எப்படி வீடியோ பிராக்டிகலா வீடியோ பண்றது அப்படிங்கிறது எங்களுக்கு மோட்டிவேட்டடா இருக்கும். சோ ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. The database management system is software. It is used to manage the database. What is database? The database is a collection of interrelated data which is used to retrieve, insert and delete the data efficiently. It is also used to organize the data in the form of the table, schema, views and reports, etc. For example, the college database organizes the data about the admin, staff, students and faculty, etc. Using the database, you can easily retrieve, insert and delete the information. Database management system. It is a software which is used to manage the database. For example, MySQL, Oracle are very popular commercial database which is used to different applications. DBMS provide an interface to perform various operations like database creation, storing data, updating data, creating tables in the database and a lot more. It provides protection and security to the database. In the case of multiple users, it also maintains the data consistency. The DBMS allows user the following task. First one, data definition. It is used for creation, modification and removal of a definition that define the organization of data in the database. Next one, data updation. It is used for the insertion, modification and deletion of the actual data in the database. Next one, data retrieval. It is used to retrieve the data from the database which can be used by application for various purposes. And the last one is user administration. It is used for registering and monitoring the user, maintain the data integrity, enforcing data security, dealing with concurrency control, monitoring performance and recovering the information corrupted by unexpected failures. Why to learn DBMS? Traditionally, the data was organized in file formats. The DBMS was a new concept. All the research was done to make it overcome the deficiency in traditional style of the data management. The real world entity. It is a modern DBMS. Is more realistic and use real world entities to design its architecture. It uses the behavior and attributes too. For example, a school database may use students as an entity and their age as an attribute. Next one, relation-based tables. It allows entities and relation among them to form tables. A user can understand the architecture of a database just by looking at the table names. Third one, isolation of data and application. A database system is entirely different than its data. A database is an active entity, whereas data is said to be a passive and which the database works and organizes. It also stores the metadata, which is data about data to ease its own process. Next one, less redundancy. The DBMS follows the rules of normalization, which is split a relation when any of its attributes is having the redundancy in values. Normalization is a Mathematically rich and scientific process that reduce the data redundancy. Next one, consistency. It is a state where every relation in a database remains consistent. There exist methods and techniques which can detect attempt to leaving the database in inconsistent state. A DBMS can provide greater consistency as compared to earlier forms of data storing the application like file processing systems. Query language. The DBMS is equipped with query language, which makes it more efficient to retrieve and manipulate the data. A user can apply as many and as different filtering options as required to retrieve the set of data. Traditionally, it was not possible where file processing system was used. Application of the DBMS. The database is a collection of related data, and data is collection of facts and figures that can be processed to produce the information. Mostly, data represent the recordable facts. Data aids in producing information which is based on facts. For example, if we have data about marks obtained by all the students, we can then conclude about toppers and average marks. A database management system stores data in such a way that it becomes easier to retrieve, manipulate, and produce the information. The following applications of the DBMS. ACD properties. The DBMS follows the concept of atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. ACID. These concepts are applied on transactions which manipulate the data in the database. ACID properties help the database stay healthy in multi-transactional environment and in case of the failure. Next one, multi-user and concurrent access. DBMS supports multi-user environment and allows them to access and manipulate the data in parallel. Though there are restrictions on transaction when user attempt to handle the same data item, but user are always unaware of them. Multiple views. DBMS offers multiple views for different users. A user who is in the sales department will have a different view of database than a person working in the production department. These features enable the user to have the concurrent view of the database according to the requirement. Security. Features like multiple views offer security to some extent where users are unable to access data of other users and departments. The DBMS offers method to impose constraints while entering the data into the database and retrieving the same at a later stage. The DBMS offers many different levels of the security features which enable multiple users to have the different views with the different features. For example, a user in the sales department cannot see the data that belongs to the purchase department. Additionally, it can also be managed how much data of the sales department should be displayed to the user. Since a DBMS is not saved on the disk as traditional file systems, it is very hard to miscreate to. Characteristic of DBMS. It uses a digital repository established on a server to store and manage the information. It can provide a clear and logical view of the process that manipulates the data. The DBMS contains automatic backup and recovery procedures. It contains ACID properties which maintain data in healthy state in case of failure. It can reduce the complex relationship between the data. It is used to support manipulation and processing of data. It is used to provide the security of the data, and it can view the database from different viewpoints according to the requirements of the user. Advantages of DBMS. Control database redundancy. It can control data redundancy because it stores all the data in one single database file and the recorded data is placed in the database. Next one, data sharing. In DBMS, the authorized user of organization can share the data among the multiple users. Easily maintenance. It can be easily maintainable due to the centralized nature of the database system. Reduce time. It reduces the development time and the maintenance need. Backup. It provides backup and recovery subsystems which create the automatic backup of data from hardware and software failures and restore the data if required. Multiple user interface. It provides different types of the user interface like graphical user interface, application program interfaces. Disadvantages of DBMS. Cost of hardware and software. It requires a high speed of data processor and large memory size to run the DBMS software. Size. It occupies a large space of the disk and large memory to run them efficiently. Complexity. Database systems create the additional complexity and requirements. Higher impact of failure. Failure is highly impacted the database because in most of the organization all the data stored in a single database, and if the database is damaged due to the electric failure or database corruption, then the data may be lost forever. DBMS versus file system. File system approach. File-based systems were an early attempt to computerize the manual system. It is also called the traditional based approach, in which a decentralized approach was taken, where each department stored and controlled its own data with the help of the data processing specialist. The main role of the data processing specialist was to create the necessary computer file structure and also manage the data within the structure and design some application programs that create the reports based on the file data. In the figure, the student file systems. The student file will contain the information regarding the student, roll number, student name, course, etc. Similarly, we have a subject file that contains the information about the subject and the result file which contains the information regarding the result. Some fields are duplicated in more than one file. Which leads to data redundancy. So, to overcome this problem, we need to create a centralized system. Example, the DBMS approach. A database approach is well-organized collection of data that are related in a meaningful way, which can be accessed by different users but stored only once in the system. The various operations performed by the DBMS systems or insertion, deletion, selections are. In the figure, the duplication of the data is reduced due to centralization of the data. Differences between the DBMS and file system. DBMS is a collection of data. In DBMS, the user is not required to write the procedure. The file system is a collection of data. In the system, the user has to write the procedure for managing the database. Sharing of data. Due to the centralized approach, data sharing is easy. The file system approach, data is distributed in many files and it may be of different formats. So, it is not easy to share the data. Data abstraction. DBMS gives an abstract view of the data that hides the details. The file system provides the detail of the data, representation and storage of the data. Security and protections. The DBMS provide a good protection mechanism. It is not easy to protect a file under the file system. Recovery mechanism. DBMS provide a crash recovery mechanism. The file system does not have the crash mechanism. Manipulation techniques. The DBMS contain a wide variety of the sophisticated techniques to store and retrieve the data. The file system cannot efficiently store and retrieve the data. Concurrency problems. The DBMS take care of concurrent access of the data using some form of locking. In the file system, concurrent access has many problems. Where to use? The database approach usually in large system which interrelated many files. File system approach usually in large system which interrelated many files. Cost. The database system is expensive to design. The file system approach is cheaper to design. Data redundancy and inconsistency. Due to the centralization of the database, the problems of data redundancy and inconsistency are controlled. In this, the files and application programs are created by different programmers so that there exists a lot of duplication of the data which may lead to inconsistency. Structure. The database structure is complex to design. The file system approach has a simple structure. Data independence. Logical data independence and physical data independence. In the file system approach, there exists no data independence. Integrity constraints. Integrity constraints are easy to apply. Integrity constraints are difficult to implement in the file system. Data models. The DBMS have the 3 data model: hierarchical data model, network data model, relational data model. In the file system approach, there is no concept of the data model exists. Flexibility. Changes are often a necessity to the content of the data stored in any system, and these changes are more easily with the database approach. The flexibility of the system is less as compared to the DBMS approach. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can mail in s3programmingtech@gmail.com. Meet the next video. Thank you.